Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking an absolute modern classic, Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. Now, at first glance, you might think, okay, it's a fable about a young shepherd boy trekking across the desert to find some buried treasure. But as we're going to explore today, that entire physical journey, it's really just a profound, beautifully written metaphor for inner spiritual growth, figuring out who you are, and reaching a totally higher state of consciousness. Right out of the gate, we get hit with this incredibly powerful idea. A wise old king named Melchizedek drops this truth bomb on our protagonist, a young shepherd named Santiago. And honestly, it sets the whole philosophical tone for the mystical adventure we're about to go on. It introduces the core theme of the book, this comforting but honestly kind of challenging idea that the universe isn't just random. It actually actively supports our deepest, truest goals. And those truest goals? That brings us to the absolutely vital concept of a personal legend. Basically, this is your ideal fate, your destiny. It's the ultimate desire that the universe literally created you to pursue. And the text makes it super clear, chasing this legend is life's #1 spiritual demand. It's the whole reason Santiago actually pulls the trigger, abandons his super comfortable life, sells his beloved flock of sheep, and just steps right out into the vast unknown. So Santiago takes off, and we get this massive geographic roadmap. We kick things off in Andalusia, Spain, cross over to the crazy bustling markets of Tangier, trek all the way across the Sahara to the oasis of Al-Fayum, finally hit the pyramids of Egypt, and then, ironically, end up right back in Spain. But here's the thing you gotta remember. Every single physical stop on this timeline is really a parallel stage in his spiritual transformation. He isn't just covering miles here, he's evolving. Well, of course, that evolution isn't exactly smooth sailing. Almost the second he steps foot in Tangier, Santiago gets robbed completely blind. All his money gone. And this is exactly where we encounter the concept of maktub. It's an Arabic phrase that literally translates to, "it is written." It's this rock-solid conviction that fate is always cooperating with you if you're pursuing your personal legend. So even when Santiago is dealing with these absolutely devastating setbacks, maktub becomes his anchor. It reminds him, hey, there's a grander plan at work here. To literally just survive after getting robbed, Santiago picks up a job working in a crystal shop. And man, the contrast here is fascinating. You've got the crystal merchant whose lifelong dream is to visit Mecca, but he is completely paralyzed. He's terrified that if he actually goes and achieves his dream, he'll literally have nothing left to live for. And then right next to him, you have Santiago, who is risking absolutely everything to chase his treasure. It's a perfect juxtaposition, showing just how dangerous it is to let fear call the shots in your life. Which leads us to a crucial takeaway. It's simple, but man, is it profound. Fear is a bigger obstacle than the obstacle itself. The texts we're looking at today come down really hard on fear, whether it's the fear of failing, the fear of losing what little you already have, or even just the physical fear of dying. Putting your dreams on hold because you're scared, that is exactly what prevents you from living a truly meaningful, spiritually fulfilled life. So we see this theme of fear versus action building up, and it eventually splits into two totally distinct paths to alchemy. While riding with a desert caravan, Santiago meets the Englishman. Now, this guy is all about intellectual, book-bound learning. He's buried in complex texts, obsessing over magic symbols, and deep down, he is incredibly held back by his fear of failure. Santiago, he's all about experiential learning. He's out there connecting with nature, watching the desert, reading the omens. At one point, they try swapping methods, and they both just end up frustrated. But the story clearly points to Santiago's intuitive, real-world connection as the truer path to enlightenment. Speaking of alchemy, how does it actually work in the lore of the story? Well, step 1 is you take a base metal and you purify it by heating it up over years and years to strip away all the impurities. Step 2 is achieving the masterwork. So that's the philosopher's stone, which turns metal to gold, and the elixir of life, which cures all diseases. And Coelho so brilliantly overlays this ancient scientific myth with human psychology. Purifying metal, that perfectly mirrors our own spiritual growth. Santiago has to constantly burn away his own impurities, his ego, his desire for material wealth, wanting people to like him, and yeah, especially his fear. But to actually pull off this purification, Santiago has to plug into what's called the soul of the world. This is described as a massive spiritual unity that binds literally everything in nature together. We're talking human beings all the way down to a single grain of desert sand. Santiago's ultimate goal is to tap into this network. He has to learn the universal language of the world, which lets him communicate not just with other people, but with the wind, the sun, the desert itself. It's a total paradigm shift. Okay, so a massive test of this new spiritual connection goes down at the oasis of Al Fayoum. Santiago is at the well, he meets a woman named Fatima and falls head over heels in love. Around the same time, he reads an omen in the sky, two hawks fighting, which predicts an attack on this completely neutral oasis. Now, you'd probably think, all right, he just fell in love, he's definitely going to get distracted from his treasure hunt. But instead, he learns a beautiful lesson. True love never obstructs a personal legend. Fatima's pure love doesn't hold him back at all. It actually empowers him to keep going. That whole realization gets summed up by this brief but honestly incredible moment near the end of the story where he just says, "I'm coming, Fatima." It represents this core truth that real lovers stay connected through that soul of the world we talked about, no matter how much physical distance is between them. Because their love is actually pure, incorruptible, kind of like the gold made in alchemy, Santiago can go after his treasure with total peace of mind. He knows Fatima is part of his destiny, not some detour pulling him away from it. So he leaves the oasis with the actual literal alchemist, and Santiago walks right into his most dangerous trial yet. They get captured by a warring tribe, and the alchemist just casually tells their captors, "Oh yeah, my friend here can destroy your whole camp by turning himself into the wind." Santiago is understandably terrified. He has no idea how to do that. He has to sit in the deafening silence of the desert, reach super deep within himself, and actually use everything he's learned about how everything is interconnected. And amazingly, by communicating with the desert, the wind, and the sun, he taps into the soul of the world and literally transforms. It's his ultimate test. He survives the test, and he finally makes it to the pyramids of Egypt. But guys, the climax is so deeply ironic. He drops to his knees, starts digging for his treasure, and immediately gets attacked and brutally beaten by some refugees. Begging for his life, he explains his whole dream about the treasure. And the leader of the thieves basically laughs in his face. He says, "You're an idiot. I had a recurring dream too about a treasure hidden under a ruined church in Spain," which is exactly where Santiago started his journey on day one. So yeah, he gets beaten and robbed, but in the process, he gets the absolute final piece of the puzzle, pointing him straight back home. So with Santiago's literal journey complete, let's step back from all the magical realism and the desert sand for a second. Let's really distill this incredible adventure down to the core, actionable lessons we can pull from the text and actually use. If we summarize the overarching themes, we get 4 major life lessons. First, the treasure is always within you, but you have to actually take the journey to find it. Santiago's gold was sitting in Spain the whole time, but he had to travel the world to become the kind of man capable of recognizing it. Second, always listen to your heart and pay attention to the omens around you. Third, rise 8 times after falling 7. The guy was robbed, beaten, stranded in the desert, but he just kept bouncing back. And finally, true love empowers your destiny. It doesn't hold you back. So I'm going to leave you with this, a little thought-provoking challenge for your day. What is your personal legend? What is that ultimate deep-down desire that the universe wired you to pursue? Look, the journey is going to require you to shed some fears, step way out of your comfort zone, and take some real risks. But as we've learned today, when you truly, genuinely want something, the universe really will conspire to help you achieve it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I genuinely hope this sparks some deep reflection on your own journey. Catch you next time.